The military has spent years trying to replace the A-10. On paper, it should already be gone. Modern stealth aircraft are faster, more advanced, and far more expensive. They can fly higher, strike from farther away, and avoid radar entirely. But there is one place where those advantages suddenly become less important: the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow stretch of water is one of the most dangerous choke points on Earth. Commercial tankers, patrol boats, islands, fishing vessels, missile batteries, drones, and hidden launch sites are all packed into a small area. Any aircraft operating there has to identify tiny moving targets in a crowded environment and react in seconds. That is exactly the kind of battlefield the A-10 was built for. While modern jets race overhead at high altitude, the A-10 does the opposite. It flies low, it flies slow, and it stays over the battlefield for hours. That matters because many of the threats in the region are small, fast attack boats hiding near coastlines and islands. From high altitude, these boats can disappear into the background. To a pilot in a fast jet, they may only be visible for a few seconds. The A-10 can circle above the area, descend close to the surface, and keep eyes on the target the entire time. Instead of making one quick pass and leaving, it can remain overhead, waiting. And that is one of the A-10's biggest strengths. The aircraft can stay in the air far longer than most fighters. That gives it the ability to patrol shipping lanes, monitor coastlines, and respond immediately if a threat appears. If small attack boats emerge from hidden coves or coastal inlets, the A-10 is already there. But surviving long enough to do that is another challenge entirely. The Strait of Hormuz is filled with dangers. Heavy machine guns, anti-aircraft guns, shoulder-fired missiles, and radar-guided systems can all threaten aircraft flying at low altitude. Most modern fighters are designed to avoid being hit. The A-10 was designed to survive being hit. The cockpit sits inside a massive shell of titanium armor, often called the bathtub. It surrounds the pilot with more than 1,000 pounds of metal strong enough to stop bullets and shrapnel. Even if parts of the aircraft are damaged, the A-10 can often keep flying. Its flight controls are duplicated. Important systems are separated from one another. Fuel tanks are protected and self-sealing. The aircraft was designed so that a single hit would not bring it down. There are even documented cases of A-10s returning to base with large sections of the wing missing, holes through the fuselage, or one engine destroyed. That durability becomes even more important when you look at the weapon mounted in the nose, because the entire aircraft was built around it. At the front of the A-10 is one of the most powerful aircraft cannons ever created, the GAU-8 Avenger. It is not simply attached to the airplane exists because of the gun. The cannon is so large that the front landing gear had to be moved to the side. The nose wheel does not sit in the center of the aircraft because the cannon takes up that space. The gun uses 7 rotating barrels and fires enormous 30-millimeter rounds. At full speed, it can fire nearly 4,000 rounds every minute. That means the cannon is firing more than 60 rounds every second. The sound has become legendary. Pilots often joke that if you hear the gun, you were not the target. The shells reach the target before the sound does. But what makes the cannon truly terrifying is not the noise. It is the size of the ammunition. A standard rifle bullet looks tiny next to a 30-millimeter shell. Even a heavy machine gun round is dwarfed by it. Some of these rounds are designed to punch through armor. Fired from the right distance, they can tear through armored vehicles, defensive positions, and even light tanks. The recoil is so violent that the cannon actually produces almost as much force as one of the aircraft's engines. To compensate, the gun is mounted slightly off-center, so the recoil pushes directly through the middle of the aircraft. Without that design, the airplane would pull to one side every time the pilot fired. To use the cannon, the pilot lines up the target using the sight inside the cockpit. The aircraft then dives toward the target at low altitude. For a few seconds, the pilot holds the nose steady. Then the trigger is pressed. The result is a stream of shells powerful enough to erase almost anything caught in front of it. Against small attack boats in narrow water, that is devastating. But the A-10 is not limited to its gun. Under its wings, the aircraft can carry bombs, rockets, guided weapons, and missiles. If a target is too heavily armored or too far away for the cannon, the pilot can switch to precision-guided weapons. These allow the aircraft to strike vehicles, radar sites, artillery, or fortified positions with far greater accuracy. The pilot enters the target location, lines up the aircraft, and releases the weapon from miles away. Once released, the bomb uses guidance systems to fly directly toward the target. That gives the A-10 the ability to attack both moving targets and fixed positions while remaining outside the most dangerous areas. Yet perhaps the most impressive part of the aircraft is not its weapons. It is the way every part of the design works together. The engines, for example, are mounted high on the back of the fuselage. That may look unusual, but there's a reason. When the aircraft operates from rough airfields or damaged runways, debris can be sucked into the engines. By mounting them high above the ground, the risk is reduced. The position of the engines also helps hide the hot exhaust from heat-seeking missiles. Compared to many other aircraft, the A-10 produces a smaller infrared signature, making it harder for missiles to lock on. The wings are another major reason why the aircraft performs so well. They are large and straight, rather than sharply swept back. That design allows the aircraft to remain stable at very slow speeds. While most fighters become difficult to control when they slow down, the A-10 thrives there. Its large wings, flaps, and control surfaces allow it to make tight turns, stay close to the ground, and line up repeatedly for another attack. The aircraft also carries large air brakes on the rear of the fuselage. These create drag and allow the pilot to rapidly slow down without losing control. That is extremely useful in close air support missions, where the aircraft may need to attack, turn sharply, and return for another pass only moments later. The A-10 not rarely works alone. In a real operation, it often coordinates with helicopters, surveillance aircraft, ships, and ground forces. Reconnaissance aircraft may spot enemy boats or missile launchers first. Ground units relay their exact position. The A-10 then moves in to destroy the target. In a region like the Strait of Hormuz, that teamwork is critical. One aircraft watches the coastline, another tracks drones, helicopters hunt fast attack boats. The A-10 remains overhead, ready to strike anything that slips through. That is why the aircraft remains in service. It is not because it is the newest aircraft. It is not because it is the fastest. It survives because there are still battlefields where nothing else can do the same job. The A-10 was designed for a brutal kind of warfare, flying low, taking fire, finding small targets, and staying in the fight long after other aircraft would have left. For decades, people have predicted the end of the A-10. Yet every time a conflict demands a tough aircraft that can fly low, survive damage, and destroy targets with terrifying precision, the same old warplane keeps returning. And that may be the best proof of all that the A-10 was built for a mission no one else can fully replace.